Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. We are doing one of our live shows. So yeah, we may get some questions from the chat, but we'll get to that later. We are joined today by the illustrious author, Joe Belcastro, who's coming to us from where the heck are you?
I'm at the Cannes Film Festival, as you can probably hear. It's rocking right now, but I'm at the Cannes Film Festival in France, right in the River area. I've been going here for a few years. I used to be in the industry as a showrunner, so I started coming out here. Now I just come out here for vacation because I just love the atmosphere. But I wanted to do something because I'm coming right from France, basically, and coming right to Watertown, New York for NocoCon. And I wanted to do some promotion for the show and kind of pump my friends here at Film USA, which is like this big pavilion that they have here, and trying to get films made in the States. So, yeah, it's just a great place. A lot of creative people. Nice place to be.
Yeah, yeah. It's the kind of thing that most people only like ever hear stories about, you know? So I can totally see it being a just vacation time. It keeps you busy though, bouncing all over the world though.
Yeah, I got in this pattern. Um, I used to work with WWE,
Hmm.
and I would just, we were doing a show in a different city and different country all year round. And I think it just kind of stuck with me when I left to write the novels, as you mentioned, and thank you for that. But yeah, I just got the travel is not that bad for me. It's a 9-hour flight feels like just a 2-hour flight these days, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but I try to get around when I can, but also slow it down a little bit because when you're writing a novel or a series of novels, you try to not. You got to sit still for a little bit, man. You can't be all over the
Hmm.
place.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You got to have that regularity and at least time to sit and let the words flow.
Yes, I mean, you got to be able to sit still, and I am now practicing that for the last 2 years, and hopefully I'm going to get better at it.
Yeah. So what's it like transitioning from, the action-packed world of WWE to the relative quiet of being a novelist?
You it's interesting. Literally at this, we had like a happy hour event to meet some other people, and somebody asked me that question, like, because I was in a writer's room for so many years, and I had people to kind of bounce ideas off and get feedback. When you're writing a novel, and I'm kind of a private guy because I felt I had a unique topic like devil banishing God premise, and I turned that to an urban fantasy. I was like, I'm on my own, so you might get feedback if you have an agent, and if you want to
Mhm.
send it out to friends or random readers before you publish it, you can. So the biggest difference is like literally you're banking on what you think is going to be good and accepted by at least majority of readers. You hope. So that's the only difference, really. My process is still the same. It's just like I said, I just don't have that. Hey, what do you think of this? Or hey, is this crap? You just don't know until you put it out there, and then you get reviews. And as we all know these days, everybody's a keyboard warrior, and they can
Mhm.
tear you apart. Fortunately, my reviews have been pretty damn good so far. Um, I probably just jinxed myself, but whatever.
Well, that's all right. You can always fall back to on filmmaking. You've got the connections.
Yeah, going back to TV life, it could be an option, but I really do like this form of storytelling. I didn't know if I would or not because I was a journalist, and then like the TV shows like every week, right?
Hmm.
And if you write a movie film script, you kind of know like, hey, you just gotta get to like a 90 to 100 pages, and there's like a nice end game to it, and then that process afterwards is all these filmmakers that are over behind me or in front of me right now, like they're all trying to figure out how to get their movies made, and that's why they come to Cannes, right? Because it's the
Hmm.
biggest film festival in the world. All the moves are being made here, so it's a good place for them to be in this environment. But for me, it's like, God, I would love to just be able to sit and write, and it's a hustle to market the book.
Mm.
Going to book festivals, like going to NocoCon, for instance, like a Comic Con essentially, and that's why I would always come back. And look, it's no secret to anybody that goes to NocoCon, James McKay, um, who's your leader, I would say. um,
Yeah,
He is a
he's my
friend of mine.
co-director.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, and he put the idea in my head, like, why don't you come here? And so it was such a good idea because then I booked some more Comic Cons afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it helped with my book sales. Like, I did not think of that, and I actually owe it to James for like putting that idea in my head. Because when I showed up to your Comic Con, I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? Like, I have a novel. I'm surrounded by all these cool fandom things and cosplays, and people are selling comic books and toys and anime stuff, right? I was like, I don't know how this is going to play here. I was like, all right, just 2 days of just sitting there, like, hey, look at my book, right? But I sold out at your place, and I was like, hey, look at that. And then I went to other Comic Cons and did very well. So, I mean, I told James, hey, look, if you see any value in me showing up to either do a panel again and speak about creative storytelling, like, I'm there. I'll fly up, and I will always do that for him. And it's just based on a friendship from the basketball court, really, when we were kids. So
Yeah, it's
that's a
good to keep.
long-winded answer to cover a lot of things in a short period of time for you.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I could see how it'd be a who knows kind of situation, because on the one hand, the foundational element of Comic Cons is comic books, and a novel is a much longer form, less art, but it's still storytelling. Oh, you made a
So,
friend.
yeah, I told you that we just ended a happy hour here in Cannes. This is my good friend Tony. He, I don't know how well that banner shows up. He's a film commissioner of Dallas, and he puts on the Film USA Pavilion in Cannes, which is.
I just had to hop in and photobomb. Joe,
Hey.
obviously, amazing what he does as an author and his background and representing the United States here in the south of France. So just wanted to pop in and interrupt this entire interview, probably blow the whole thing up, but figured it had a little spice to everything here. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah, surprises. That's what we do.
Yeah, go tell your hot partner to jump in. Yeah, sorry. That's why I said I wanted to do this live, because like it could be fun. We'll find out.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. It's a thing we strive for, though. Usually, I know what's coming at least, but hey,
Yeah.
it's all good. So, how did you get started? I guess like obviously you were already in a creative space with your previous work, and then when you made the jump, like how did the decision making process work? How did you actually like make it happen, if that makes sense?
So I mean, I'll try to do this as short as possible, but like at around, I don't know, when I was like in corporate America, like out of college, I got a job in HR, and I was dressed like a PGA golfer. And I moved to Tampa in 2005. I'm actually from upstate New York.
Mhm.
And I just decided, hey, you know what? I don't want to dress like a PGA golfer anymore. I always had an affinity for writing and film, and I loved watching movies. So I became a film critic, found my way through that. And at that particular time, there's a way in for the online journalists, and I took advantage of that. But
Sure.
the WWE thing was always my dream gig, but I could not break the wall. I could not get in the door. I never really studied it in college. I was just a fan that came up with my own little TV show and on the public access channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I'm doing journalism. I'm hustling with that, struggling through that. It wasn't always an easy gig, but film criticism, covering music festivals, stuff like that. And then WWE called me via a friend who said they met somebody at HR that said they knew my name, because I think I wrote an article about if Vince McMahon was going to do a biopic. Here's who I think should play Vince McMahon. I went down the whole diatribe of how the movie should play out. And the next thing I know, I'm flying up to Stamford, Connecticut, and I did the interview, and I took the job as a writer to be in the writer's room for WWE. And so we were writing the television shows, and I kind of progressed through there. And then I had this idea, which played well last year when I had those banners up at your show with the devil banishing God. My book's titled Dominature. Why did the devil banish God from heaven? And I just wanted to write it. And I knew I couldn't do both, so I just made the choice to leave my dream gig and try to write this series of novels that I had in my head. Give myself like 5 years to see if it works. And I'm like halfway through. Second book comes out in July. The first book did well enough where I can keep going, and I'm writing the third book right now. So goal is just basically get them out. But my career is just creativity. I like I'm a writer. It's a simple introduction. It's kind of worked out where I've been able to, make a living. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. It's just I was lucky enough where my talents and I got landed in the right spot to give myself another shot to try another dream. I might be getting greedy, but we'll see if it pays off. So that, in a nutshell, that's kind of my writing career.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's one of those once in a lifetime things when you like, in your case, writing the screenplay about Vince McMahon, that happened to catch his attention, and one thing led to another. But yeah, you absolutely leverage everything you can get your hands on.
Yeah, I think I never had confirmation that the article is what got the call. The timing was always like, it felt like that could have been it. I don't understand why the timing wouldn't have happened, but I doubt Vince ever read that, though, to tell you the truth.
Well, hey, you never know. I mean, maybe one of these days he'll want rights for it. But yeah, you mentioned you've got your second book. It's either about to come out or coming out soon, something along those lines.
Yeah, I want to. I was trying to figure out a way to do this, but the second book comes out in mid-July, and I might reveal the cover at NocoCon. I might do some type of live social media shot. And dude, I hate social media so much. I just can't stand being full and promoting myself. I kind of feel inadequate doing it. But I might reveal the cover at NocoCon because I think I'm doing a panel where I'm just kind of talking about people that want to try to help with like creative storytelling, basically.
Yeah.
And I think I might bring some extra copies of my what I would call the first edition of Dominature, because it had the original cover, and there's about 10 to 12 copies left of that I have. Brand new. Like, I was smartened up a little bit. Hey, put this new cover on, do a proper launch, and that's what I did recently. And so I also announced the sequel. So I think I'm going to bring those copies to NocoCon because I enjoyed the crowd there. So if I do get famous from writing author stuff, those books will hopefully be valuable because there's only like a few hundred of those that have the original cover that I designed with my good friend. So yeah, but I'm going to try to promote to the second book as well.
Cool. Yeah, first editions often are much shorter runs and then end up becoming a thing.
Yeah.
It's a bold plan. I think a lot of people have wondered over the years about the idea of the devil versus God and how that conflict might have gone differently, but it's a really bold step to actually write the story of what might have happened.
It is. And look, I wasn't trying to please everybody. I would have written something that was more friendly to the world if I wanted to, but I wasn't passionate behind that. I was like, I want to do something that I would like to see. And that's all it is. And I think everybody should do that. Any writer, any creative person should do what they want to see. Like, they shouldn't cater to a market, which is the exact opposite what I hear actually in these film festivals, because everyone's like, hey, give me the next murder mystery, or hey, give me the next natural disaster movie, right? And I understand that, because if the big studios want that and they're going to buy it up, okay. But when you're writing your own book, you can do what you want, and you should do what you want because it's going to come out better. It's going to come out more genuine to the reader, I think. And mine's a little risky. Look, I will fully admit the first chapter is tough to process, which you're like, well, why would you make the first chapter tough to process? And I'm like, because I wanted something different that I'd never seen before. And it doesn't make sense just to make everything the same as what we've already seen. And since I can do it, I did it. No one's telling me not to do it. But the devil banishing God is controversial. I've had meetings with agents where they're like, yeah, we can never publish this. I'm like, yeah, you can, because it's not religious preachy. It's just a concept that makes an alternate history thing go. It's not like the actual devil and God, if that even exists, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted this epic. I use it as a platform to springboard an epic, which then will be told in more depth in terms of where it goes in the second book and the third book. But it's just a premise. But I understand, hey, you're putting devil banishing God on your front cover. You know, it could rub people the wrong way. When I was in
Oh, yeah,
Jackson,
for sure.
Mississippi, I almost got shot
Ooh.
because Bible Belt, you know, they were like,
Mm-hmm.
you really believe this? I go, I don't believe anything. It's a book of fiction.
It does say "what
I
if"
I
before
can't.
the rest of it.
Yeah, and then you see him go like, and it's like, holy shit, it's just a book. Relax. But yeah.
Yeah, it can be pretty rough. Um, so yeah, you've already mentioned what we have in mind for NocoCon. You've got the at least the panel coming up and possibly some extra surprises about the second book. So before we get going, for anybody who hasn't seen you before or run across you on the internets, obviously people should come see you at NocoCon. But until then, where can they find you?
So I now have a website. I'm all proper with a website, joebelcastro.com. And what you can find there, besides if you want to just see like a brief timeline of my writing career and who I am, I'm giving away a free ebook on the site. All you have to do is put in your name and your email, and you'll get a free 40-page ebook, which is a gateway into my Dominator series. And so you can basically judge me. You can read 40 pages. If you like my side, kind of like what I'm doing with the story, then that book is free to you. And then you can decide if you want to keep going with me on this journey. So yeah, that'd be the best bet, and that leads you to all my socials and all that fun stuff I don't want to do. So
Yeah, fair enough. All right, that's a pretty cool thing to get a preview. Not a lot of authors do that.
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in just a couple of weeks in Watertown.
Yep, right from France to Watertown, New York. Here I come.
Woo!
Hey, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Sure, sure. And thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you soon too.
All right, man. Later.
Good night.
Set a course for our YouTube channel for interviews with more guests and featured creators bringing the epic to Watertown. Make it so.